Welcome to the Just Off Harbor podcast. I am Britton.
And I'm Dani. We are sisters, and we are Disneyland enthusiasts who visit the park from out of state multiple times a year with our families. We are bringing this podcast to you in an effort to help you plan the most successful Disneyland trip you can plan with your kids. We know that sometimes this is a once-in-a-lifetime trip for people, and we want you to get it right. So that's our goal, is to give you all the tools so that you can do that.
Let's get started.
Okay.
So what are we going to talk about today?
We are going to talk about my favorite Disneyland topic.
Halloween. Halloween.
What did you say?
Of all time.
Of all time. It's my favorite season. It's my favorite thing to talk about. It's my favorite thing to give people tips about, because it is one of the busiest times in the parks during the year, and it also is one of the more complicated to organize because of Oogie Boogie Bash nights. And so it's one of the things that I really like to make sure people
know how
to do right.
But it's also super fun, good weather, fun vibe, awesome rides,
food and treats, like fun food and snacks. You've got the Halloween overlays. You've got Haunted Mansion Holiday. Over in Cars Land, you've got overlays on a couple of the rides, as well as just general decorations throughout the entire resort that are festive and fun.
Disneyland kind of goes all out for Halloween, even more than Christmas.
Yeah.
So if you're like, I like decorations, this is it. This is the time.
That's why you're gonna go. The thing, like, Christmas is like classic Christmas vibes. There's twinkly lights and whatever, but Halloween is like, it's different every year, and there's just so much you can do everywhere. Like, there's jack-o'-lanterns. There's, like, I don't know. It's just everywhere.
I always tell people that Christmas is more magical. Halloween is more of a party.
Yeah.
Like, it's more fun.
I think that's a really good assessment.
So that's kind of where I land. It depends on what kind of a trip you want. If you're like party vibes, Halloween's for you. So,
and if you want like magic, maybe it's Christmas.
Yes.
However, one thing we do want to know is that if you're worried about taking your kids at Halloween, don't be, because it is not scary at all. Like, it's not gonna be anything jumping out at anyone. There's no like blood and gore. It's nothing of that nature. It's just
even
very,
when it
like,
gets nighttime, it's like twinkle lights more than like scary.
Yeah, it doesn't get scary. The only exception to that might be Monsters After Dark, and Oogie Boogie Bash is a little bit on the darker side, but still not scary. It's
mostly
like villains. And it's dark. It's like literally dark through the whole party, but not scary.
No.
So that's our take on that. Don't be afraid, because you won't be afraid. So let's talk about Haunted Mansion Holiday. This is something that is a topic of hot conversation right now, because it has been down since January. They have been refurbing it. They have completely gutted the entire queue. There is scrim up everywhere. You can't even see the Haunted Mansion. And they have been digging everything out and relaying all the queue, because they're trying to make it more disability accessible. And I think probably add shade and other elements that make the line a little more fun too.
For sure. And there's been issues there for a long time where Haunted Mansion queue wants to meet up with Pirates when they're both really long. The lightning lane for Haunted Mansion sometimes goes all the way back to Splash Mountain. Like, there's just like, it's high time.
Right. Not to mention all the disability access. Like, if you have a scooter or a wheelchair, you have to park your scooter on the Splash Mountain side and come up through like the main doors of Haunted Mansion.
Well, and then when you exit, you have to, if you can't get out of your wheelchair or your scooter, like if you need it to come with you into the ride, you have to ride it down the stretch room and then wait for the stretch room to come back down to ride it back up to get out. So it's like, there's just things that like slows things down. And at Halloween, because it's the holiday overlay, it's busy. That where normally you're like, Haunted Mansion, 20-minute wait most of the time. It's more like 45-minute wait most of the time.
To an hour.
Like you got to plan on at least a 45-minute wait,
and
depending.
Halloween is also one of the hottest times of the year, and that Haunted Mansion queue does not provide a lot of shade. So I'm actually really glad to know that it's going, if you've been to Disneyland, this will make sense to you, if not, sorry, but there's a section between Haunted Mansion and the train station in New Orleans that's sort of just like a garden area.
It's kind of a courtyard.
And it's very shaded. Like there's giant trees. And so I think them utilizing that area of the park a little bit better and taking advantage of that shade, I'm hoping that that's going to be incorporated into what they're doing, because it can be really hot back there.
So, I mean, when it does open, because what's happening is it's taking longer than they thought. So when it does open for Halloween, hopefully on August 23rd with the opening of Halloween, it will be a virtual queue only. So if you haven't dealt with a virtual queue, make sure that you understand how that works. You need to have the Disneyland app. You go on early first thing in the morning. There's usually a 7 a.m. drop and a 1 p.m. drop of times where you'd have to get on right at the right time and push the right button. And it's kind of like a little bit nerve-wracking, but then they tell you when to come back, which is nice because that usually means you have a better wait time. You can plan around it a little bit more. So
yeah, well, and you know, unlike Rise of the Resistance and Runaway Railway and some of those that have had virtual queues in the past, Haunted Mansion Holiday is Haunted Mansion the ride is one of the highest volume rides in the park for getting guests in. So
and it's not like breaking down multiple times a day like Rise.
Right. So unlike Rise, where they have, let's say, I mean, I'm making up a number out of thin air, let's say they can fit 5,000 people through Rise of the Resistance in a day. I don't even know if that's true. But Haunted Mansion is like, I don't know, 5x that, maybe more. I have no idea, because it's a constant, you're running people through. So getting a virtual queue, I don't think is something people need to be nervous about. It's not going to be like, oh, dang it, I didn't get one. I think it's really going to be more to organize people that want it. And yeah, if you miss the virtual queue completely, then you're just kind of out of luck, which is why it's good to know about it. But I don't think it's going to be a thing where people aren't getting the opportunity to ride it. That's my guess.
Well, and hopefully it won't be for that long. And definitely by the time when it's all done, it will go back to normal. I'm sure it will go back on regular Lightning Lane, all those sorts of great
which
things
is another
that we're used to.
Another perk of it being on virtual queue is that it is not a Lightning Lane attraction.
Yeah, so you get to get on it in a quick way without
paying the extra. So
win-win in our
we're gonna go with a win.
So, I mean, as far as what to expect on the ride itself, if you have been through the normal Haunted Mansion without the holiday overlay, it's not even as scary as normal. So if you're worried about, like, will my kids be frightened? No. And if you want to prepare them a little bit, have them watch Nightmare Before Christmas, because it will be more fun for them. My kids, knowing the characters, definitely enjoyed it a little bit more. It was just unique and different. It's a little bit brighter and more colorful. Even, like, the stretch room has, like, portraits of, like, Lock, Shock, and Barrel. And you go down and there's Jack Skellington at the top instead of the noose, the hangman on the noose and stuff. So it's just a little lighter overall. But it does tend to be a little bit busier. Plan that you're going to be waiting a little bit longer.
Yeah.
But they also do every year a gingerbread house down in the ballroom.
Forgot about that. I'm so excited about that.
You got so excited. So every single year, the bakery people who the food Imagineers is what we're gonna call them, design a gingerbread house that's like huge, huge, guys.
I don't know, like a story tall.
And
giant.
It's different every single year, and it smells like gingerbread.
And it actually like permeates more as the season goes on. So
yes.
Like, if you go at Christmas, it smells better than if you go at Halloween.
If you go on the first day of Halloween, you're almost like and you almost can't smell it. But later it gets better as the season goes on.
Yep.
But I'm really excited.
I'm excited. It's always like a first day of Halloween thing. Like, what will it be like?
Yeah, it's very much like always under wraps. You don't know until people go through the first morning and share videos. So if you don't want to know what the gingerbread house looks like until you get there,
don't spoil it.
Don't spoil it.
This circles back to the thing that I remembered I was going to say, which is on YouTube, you can pretty much find point of view ride videos for literally any ride in Disneyland.
Yes.
So if you have a kid that's scared, and this goes for Haunted Mansion or any ride, you could find a point of view of Incredicoaster, of Indiana Jones, of anything that they might be nervous about. And if you think that might help ease their mind to see it, that's a great way to kind of...
We have done that a lot.
Yeah. it just kind of...
Especially if you got a kid that doesn't like surprises. If you're worried about how noisy it's going to be, if you've got a child that doesn't like extra sounds or surprise sounds, all that sort of stuff. If you are not well acquainted with it, you can kind of refresh your memory before you go to make sure you're going to feel comfortable. But overall, especially rides like Haunted Mansion or anything that doesn't have a height requirement, you usually don't need to worry about anything like that.
Yeah. Yeah. And speaking of Haunted Mansion not having a height requirement, that is one benefit of that ride over a lot of others during the... Like, there's other Halloween overlay ones that do... Basically, every other one has a height requirement of some kind. Whether it's Monsters After Dark or even the Cars Land ones. They're lower height requirements, but Haunted Mansion is the one the whole family can enjoy from babies on up. So, take advantage of that.
So, don't sleep on it. We love that ride.
Sometimes we do sleep on it because we're really tired.
If you have a 10 o'clock virtual queue, take a little snooze. Especially, the problem is, same with Little Mermaid, when the seat leans back and you're just like, oh.
And it's dark. And it's sort of like sways you just a little and no one's talking to you and your feet are like taking a break.
It's kind of a problem.
We do sleep on it.
Maybe we need a whole episode about our favorite
which rides to sleep on. Where to take a siesta. Okay, so one of my other favorite parts about Halloween at Disneyland, well, I love everything, but Cars Land itself has to be one of the lands in all the Disney parks that I feel like is the most like detailed and themed perfectly, just generally. Like, it looks like Radiator Springs.
Yes.
And
it's very immersive.
Yeah.
You feel like you walk in, you don't see any other part of the park. You know, all of your sight lines are just cars.
Right. And so then during Halloween, it's even better because it's Cars Land, but it's also Halloween. And it's just...
But it's Cars Halloween. So all the decorations are made out of car parts.
Yeah.
And
you've got like gas cans that are made into pumpkins. And like the cozy cones, they put little jack-o'-lantern faces on it. And there's like nails and rivets that make little spiders on the rooftops. And
you could spend a long time in there just like looking at the fun little things.
So much fun. So on top of that, they also do a few special things. The first is Mater's Junkyard Jamboree becomes Mater's Junkyard Jamboree, and it is overlaid with Halloween themed music and I can't remember exactly. I mean, there's just general decor through the area. And then you also have Luigi's Rollickin' Roadsters, which becomes Luigi's... Don't they change the name? What's it called? Someone's yelling it right now.
I always forget it because...
We'll have to come back to it.
It's like kind of different.
But that bothers me that we can't think of it.
Also like Halloween music. What is it called? This is embarrassing.
We're going to have to pause and come back to this because this is important.
Because we got to learn.
We Googled.
You're not supposed to admit that we had to Google.
But before we got to the Google, I had remembered. So she confirmed it, but we had remembered. Luigi's Honkin' Halloween. Like hauling a car, but Halloween. That's it. So Luigi's Honkin' Halloween, Mater's Junkyard Jamboree, those two are considered Halloween overlays. Neither of those are Genie Plus rides.
No, but they do have a little bit of a height requirement. They're really low. But like
Luigi's
like
is
32
lower than
inches
Mater's,
or something.
I think.
It's pretty minimal.
Yeah.
You just can't take a baby on it. So plan on that one because those are super fun and they're fun at night because they're all lit up too. So like, don't miss Cars Land at night, guys. Like ever, just like go over there.
Go both times,
daytime and nighttime. Well, in the daytime too, it can be really hot because there's the blacktop. So I prefer nighttime.
I prefer nighttime, but like photo wise and stuff like that, daytime's better.
Yeah.
So it's a both place for me. But the other thing to note is, so if you know this generally, Cars Land has what they call Shaboom every night at sunset. Like if you Google the sunset time for the night, that's when Shaboom is. So it changes every day. But during Halloween, it's the I Put a Spell on You song instead, which is just as fun. It's just different. But you stand, everyone just kind of crowds into like Main Street on... in Radiator Springs, Route 66, and then the neon lights, as the music starts playing, the neon lights like kind of come on down the street like this, and it's so fun.
Oh, it's kind of a fun time to be there. You can even plan like your dinner time around then. Sometimes sit out front of Flo's and like
the whole vibe.
Watch it. It's very fun. Also, they light up. So Radiator Springs Racers also gets like Halloween lights at Halloween at night. So they're like green and purple and orange and stuff. Normally it's just kind of like orangey, yellow vibes, but at Halloween time, it's like way more colorful. So all the rides at Cars Land. What?
We totally forgot to talk about this earlier. Cars Land, all the cars get costumes. Halloween costumes. So like Mater is a vampire.
The actual cars that you meet.
Yes. So like Lightning McQueen comes out in like a superhero costume, and the big fire engine is like a big clown. Remember?
Yeah, and Mater is a vampire, and Cruz Ramirez, who's a little bit newer to the Cars world, is a pirate.
So
She's
cute.
very cute.
Yeah, I remember that.
I love them.
I totally forgot. It's another thing to be excited about.
So embarrassing.
Is it though?
We do our best.
We're only people. So while we're talking kind of, I mean, this isn't directly related, but kind of related. It's a good segue, I would say, is the foodie guide, because
I didn't know where you were segueing, so maybe it wasn't a great segue.
It's a good segue. This is why, because I immediately wanted to talk about the cozy cones and all their delicious, like, fun Halloween treats. That's why my brain.
I'll allow it.
I'll allow it. So we're segueing in to the foodie guide, and that's because cozy cones have some of the funnest Halloween treats during the foodie guide season. So let's discuss.
Let us.
Tell us about the foodie guide.
I love the foodie guide. It's like maybe something that like,
it's kind of like Christmas.
it is a little bit, and you get it usually. Last year it came out about 3 weeks before Halloween opening. Honestly, I could see it coming out
anytime,
any day, because depending on when Disney wants to release it and what kind of other news they've got to stack between now and then. But it's just so fun to get to go through and see all the things that are coming out, plan your food a little bit, figure out which churro you're going to participate in.
Very important. The churro you're going to participate in. Which multiple churros. You have to space them.
Yeah.
So,
and you also have to be at the right
part of the park
to get, so because different types of churros are only offered at specific carts.
Okay, so what's your favorite churro offered at Halloween time generally?
At Halloween time. I mean, if they would bring back the Fluffernutter, that's always an answer for me. But last year it was over the summer, so I feel like we're kind of due for another round of Fluffernutter, but I don't know. But if it's just like Halloween fall themed, I really liked, a couple years ago they had a caramel apple one, which last year they had a caramel apple one, which was no. Because it had like pie filling on it, like actual fruit, which just, I'm eating a churro, I don't need fruit. But it was just like apple flavored sugar, rolled in sugar, and then caramel drizzle. So it was way more like basic.
Like caramel apple pop vibes?
Like eating a caramel apple pop.
Okay.
So I really enjoyed that one, and I only got half a one because we were there with family, and we were just trying them, and I never got back to it again, and it was the biggest regret. So maybe like top 3 churros out of all the churros for me.
Do you know what I think they need that I don't know that they've done specifically is like a pumpkin churro drizzled in frosting, like cream cheese frosting.
You know how they did the carrot cake one?
Yeah.
I feel like they could do that minus the carrots.
Well, and then they also have the...
Again, vegetables.
Who needs vegetable? But like the gingerbread one they had last Christmas, but you had to buy a dipping sauce, and I don't like buying the dipping sauces because they're always...
I want it
like,
drizzled.
Not the right texture.
I mean, I guess you could like, drizzle your own.
Not usually because it's thicker. It's more like, I don't know, I want it drizzled.
I also feel like it's also not as generous. Like it's not usually enough to...
And you have to pay extra for it. So,
pass.
Pumpkin flavored with just nothing weird on it. No nuts, no like other
Well,
things.
they've had pumpkin churros before that are delicious.
But they need it
with... the drizzle needs to be on top. Cream cheese drizzle.
Cream cheese drizzle. I mean...
You heard it here first, folks.
Disney, listen up.
So churros are great. I always love the bakery case stuff. Last year they brought in a caramel apple that was dipped in dark chocolate.
You talk about this like every day.
Well, it needs to come back because I don't really like the white chocolate. Here we are. Here's the caramel apple spiel. The white chocolate's too sweet and doesn't pair as great with the sour of the apple. But the problem is, usually the cute ones are white chocolate because they're like dyed
they need
colors.
Like lighter color to make all the different colors. Yeah.
So that's the problem. Milk chocolate's delicious, but the dark chocolate, there's something about it that pairs so well with the caramel and the apple that like, can we please bring back a dark chocolate?
I mean, they were really cool looking too.
Yeah.
Like, to be fair.
They were like, had like a chocolate bat on the top.
They were just like, almost like a silhouette of an apple. They were so dark.
Yeah, they were so dark.
Yeah.
Well, at first, I think I remember seeing it and I was like, what is that? Because it was even actually dipped in black sugar too. Mm-hmm. Like it was fully like, it
black
was
on
dark.
Black. Picture like Wednesday
Addams apple.
That's this apple. So that can come back.
Yeah, I'm here for it.
Let's go for that. I would love for them to do a few things different though. Like I feel like the last few years they've had a lot of kind of the same-ish stuff.
Well, because they will have lots of treats different places, but they all have a cherry flavor in them. Yeah. Or they all have a maple flavor.
Or they all have bacon on them.
Yeah.
Or they're all, like one time it was like literally all like pecans and everything.
Well, I get that they need to streamline stuff, but the other thing I'm calling for right now is a Mickey pumpkin macaron.
That would be adorable. What would it be flavored? Pumpkin? Pumpkin flavored?
I think it could be like pumpkin, maybe with some caramel and cream cheese buttercream or some sort of thing. Like kind of like pumpkin-y, spice.
Pumpkin spice.
Cakey.
I love me some pumpkin spice.
Mm-hmm. Or chocolate.
Chocolate.
I mean, chocolate goes with the black Halloween. The orange and black is always just classic. So
yeah. I mean, I would love
I'm not mad about chocolate.
More red velvety things. I feel like that goes well with Halloween because it's like a little bit like blood vibes. The Darth by Chocolate has red velvet in it, but Darth by Chocolate, which is my favorite dessert, it's like a pudding cup with like cake and pudding and Oreo layers and like crunchies and stuff. It's just getting more and more puddingy every year. And the price goes up and it's more puddingy.
So it's just like a pudding cup?
It's a pudding cup with basically
for like $8.
Yeah. Yes. and it's not just that it's a pudding cup. I don't love pudding. Like the pudding is already the part that's like, I guess I'll have it.
Well, in my brain it was more like a parfait cake with a pudding layer.
Yeah, no. Now it's like a pudding cup with a bit of cake. So that's disappointing.
Although, just like a dirt cup would be fun for kids too. Mm-hmm. Just like a little like normal like pudding cup with Oreo and gummy worms.
I wonder if they'd have trouble. I mean, they'd almost have to make them on the spot because I feel like they would get kind of soggy.
I feel like the gummy worms get soggy, but you could plunk those on top last.
That's true. Ooh, the orange. This is not related to the pudding cup. The blood orange slush.
I thought you were gonna say, well, you hate orange flavored things.
You were going for the Ahsoka.
There was an parfait. Ahsoka parfait like a few years ago for when, I don't know, Star Wars something.
It literally makes my mouth taste gross.
It tasted like orange pledge.
That's exactly what it tasted like. Like that is the best description yet. It was like eating perfume. Orange perfume.
It was too fake. So when you said the orange, I was like, what are you even talking about?
No, I was thinking of Galactic Grill, which orange usually slushy. Has
the orange shake at Smoke Jumpers was delicious. I missed that.
Yeah, that one could come back too. They also have the apple pie one at Smoke Jumpers. They always have really good shakes at Smoke Jumpers, but I feel like
don't sleep on Smoke Jumpers. People always go to Schmoozies.
Schmoozies is not as good as Smoke Jumpers shakes, in my opinion. I don't know. We're just anxious. Obviously, the other thing is we've just talked about snacks. We haven't talked about food. Like,
is there food in the foodie guide?
Yes, there's so much food in the foodie guide, but we don't. Obviously, it's not what we eat.
Well, the problem is a lot of times. Again, this is another thing that Disneyland leans into. Halloween, spooky. Ghost pepper sauce. That's like
everything.
That's like the go-to.
So you can either get like normal food or something raging in ghost pepper sauce. Those are the only two choices.
My digestion already gets messed up at Disneyland.
You don't need it like searing through as it comes. So I don't know. Maybe that's just less exciting. Sometimes they'll get like a good pastrami thing, which again, we're not really pastrami people, but sometimes they'll get like a cool new sandwich or a fun new pizza or stuff like that. But it's just, I'm not gonna lie, we are not the most adventurous eaters, and ghost pepper is like way down on our list of things.
We're always actually really excited when we end up bringing our husbands with at Halloween, because they can try the ghost pepper thing, and they will love it.
Yeah, they appreciate it.
I want just like normal stuff, and by normal I mean basic bitch level.
Like, ask us our top 5 foods that we eat at Disney. It's like the pasta at Pizza Planet,
Bengal barbecue,
Jolly Holiday grilled cheese sandwiches,
Plaza Inn chicken dinner, and Pim pretzels.
That's exactly what I was going. Oh, the club sandwich at Flo's. We get that one quite a bit. And the quesadilla tacos are always a win.
Again, see how boring we are?
That's really boring. And literally, we eat those same things like on repeat. When we're there, we're not like, look at this delicious like Thanksgiving dinner sandwich they have.
I'm sorry. If they bring back one more kale salad, I'm done.
We can't even talk about it. It's too depressing.
Okay, so one thing we really like about Disneyland at Halloween is all the characters kind of get switched up a little bit. So if you're used to seeing the same kind of characters out, this is where you get a whole new round of characters.
And they're so cute.
I know. Well, and you still get all your classics, you know, Mickey and Minnie and Pluto and Chip and Dale and Donald and Daisy.
Goofy.
But they are all in their Halloween costumes, which is our favorite. And they're so cute, and they're different every single year. So this is another like surprise thing every year. I mean, they usually give a little bit of a preview, but to see them in real life in their little costumes.
The first day they come out, it's so fun to be there, which we will be there. Well, not opening day this year, but opening weekend, because there's just an energy there when everyone kind of gets to see the first reveal of them for the season. They come up to the train
and the characters
station
are really like Daisy's like really showing off, and Minnie, and they're looking really good, and anyway,
so
they're just super fun. But plus also at the train station that they don't normally have are villains roaming. So you usually get Jafar, Queen of Hearts. Who else is usually up there? Cruella is always around.
I'm trying to think. I know there's a couple others.
So I feel like there's just a little more of that. Sometimes Gaston makes it up to the front. So they're a little more present. Captain Hook is out, which he's always out. But, you know, you just tend to they tend to push that just a little bit more.
Yeah.
So that's always really fun. And same over in DCA. They're in Halloween costumes.
They do
are different. They're more like flapper 20s costumes.
Old era costumes. Yeah. A little more simple. So much fun.
So that's always really fun. We always like Halloween Disney characters.
Yeah, and if characters are your thing, stay tuned, because we're talking about Oogie Boogie in a minute. So that will be our next episode that you'll have to catch. But characters at Halloween for Oogie Boogie time, you get all kinds of rare characters, all kinds of villains. I mean, not just the villain meet and greet ones, but the characters, they have them up on the Buena Vista circle. We've seen like Hades and Pain and Panic. You see Megara and Hercules. That was an entire cast of people. That's obviously all I care about.
Mulan up there. They just have different people going on up there. The lion, not the Lion King, the lion who is a king on Robin Hood.
Oh, as
King
in
Prince
King
John.
Prince John.
He's not a king. Prince John. So I've seen him up there, just different, more unique guys. And the sheriff of Nottingham, he's been up there.
Has he been up there? I know I always seen both of them in the Frightfully Fun parade, but I wasn't sure if I'd seen him a standalone.
I feel like I've seen photos. I don't know that I've actually seen him.
The first year we did Oogie Boogie, they actually had this whole lineup of meet and greet characters that you could meet separate from the queue, and it was they would rotate out, but it was the guy from Mulan, the bad guy.
Oh,
Shan Yu.
Yeah,
Shan Yu, the Prince John, Frollo. Yeah, Frollo.
That's scary.
A bunch of creepy ones, and it was just photo ops, which was fun because the line would be a certain amount long, but then you'd get to do all three. So that was really fun.
I hope that things have calmed down a little bit, even with the character photo lines in general. This is something, I mean, we can talk more about this in our Oogie Boogie episode, but guys, don't waste an hour and a half of your party time waiting to take a photo with a character, please.
Just it's just not worth it. It's just not. maybe we're just not character people, because
Maybe
we
that's our
don't get
problem.
it, because the idea of missing
all the other stuff.
You only have a 5-hour event to begin with. Is it even 5?
I think it's 5. 6 to 11.
Yeah. And you're spending an hour to 2 hours waiting in a queue for like the Sanderson sisters. Anyway, we can talk about Oogie Boogie more in the next episode. There's a lot of things to unpack with strategies on making the most of your Oogie Boogie night, but there's your first tip.
But one thing to keep in mind with Oogie Boogie, as far as if you aren't attending, or if you're attending one night but not other nights, this is just something in general you need to know, is at Halloween time is the one and only time that I tell people, I don't care what your party is, I don't care what, like if you've got little people or whatever the thing is, if you can budget in a park hopper, budget in a park hopper.
Yeah,
because
for sure.
the value is way higher during Halloween time. Because the park closes at DCA at 6 p.m. for Oogie Boogie Bash.
Like 3 days a week.
3 days a week. You're going to be there during an Oogie Boogie night, no matter what.
Yeah.
It will affect you. And Disneyland, one year, our very first year we did Halloween, we had single day tickets, and we just planned we were going to be in Disneyland for the whole day. It was crowded first thing in the morning and all day long, because everybody that had a single day park ticket
chose Disneyland.
Planned ahead enough chose to be in Disneyland, so everybody was there first thing in the morning, including those that then were going to hop later or go to Oogie Boogie Bash. Like
and
there
on
just
the
was
flip
like
side,
it was just busy.
If you have the Hopper Pass, you can choose to be in DCA that morning with all the people that are either going to Oogie Boogie that night and have purchased a separate ticket, or people who have Hopper Passes. It is so calm. You know when it's an Oogie Boogie night in DCA because
the morning is awesome.
Just calm. Yeah. So definitely 100%. A Hopper Pass runs you at most $65 per person.
I think it's up to $70 now on a 5-day ticket.
Okay.
But still.
Okay. So let's say 70. If you're splitting that per person over a 5-day period, you're paying like what, $12 extra a day or something, $15 a day extra to have the flexibility. And that Hopper flexibility is great for lots of reasons. For one thing, if you have a Genie Plus pass, you now have access to both parks, and your Genie Plus is more valuable. Because otherwise, if you have no Hopper, but you buy Genie Plus, you only have access to the half of the Genie Plus rides that are on the park that you're in, even though you've paid for the pass across both parks.
It's also easier to get dining reservations, because you can, if there's only a Blue Bayou reservation on the one day you're only in DCA, then you don't get to go. You know, where if you can go back and forth,
flexibility
there is great. But then the other thing, especially come September, is the nighttime entertainment starts to go down because of noise ordinances. So if you want fireworks and you are only going to be there on one weekend day, that's your one day to try fireworks. And if it's windy, fireworks ain't happening and you lose it. So they still have like nighttime projections and stuff like that. But like if there's things about, but like Fantasmic is only on the weekends starting in September.
After Labor Day.
So you start to like really limit your ability to like go to all the things.
Right. Which again, the value of those upgrades become better, not because they're more valuable per se, but because your ability to navigate your trip with less hiccups becomes all the more important. Like in the summer, there's a lot more ways to pivot. There's more going on. There's more show times. There's more park hours. Like there's things that are different. And when you choose to not get a Hopper during the fall months, one little thing, like you said, the wind being too much on Friday night, and that was your Disneyland night, and tomorrow you're in DCA, you just don't get fireworks. Like that was it for you because you don't have a Hopper.
You watch fireworks from the Esplanade.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you really lose your ability to do
some people will do this. They'll be like, I bought a Hopper halfway through my trip because I needed the flexibility and I didn't realize how much I needed it. You're paying the same for your Hopper on day 3 as you would have paid for it on day 1. It doesn't go down. So if you even
it's not prorated.
Kind of think that it's something that is important to you, really consider budgeting it in. And I would say if you had to choose between a Hopper and Genie Plus, depending on your party and their interests, I would almost pick a Hopper over Genie Plus.
I would still pick the Hopper, and I would plan to maybe Genie Plus 1 or 2 days of your trip.
Yeah.
Instead of adding it to your whole 5-day ticket.
I would say
never always
don't add Genie Plus to your whole ticket ever. That would be my
that's a whole nother journey.
Yeah.
But
we'll
just
get into
plan
that in
Halloween
another
time, get a hopper ticket, or at least make sure that your park reservations are Disneyland only on Oogie Boogie nights so you don't get kicked out at 6 p.m. Or plan, you know what? We don't care if we get kicked out at 6 p.m. We have a dining reservation at Goofy's Kitchen that night.
And then we're
going to bed.
You know?
Or we're going,
yeah.
I mean, just know that that's a problem and it's something to think about because you can't go anywhere.
Right. You're done at 6.
Done.
You can't even mobile. Or I had this guy at Oogie Boogie Bash in front of me in line. I was at Oogie Boogie Bash, but he was supposed to be leaving, and they wouldn't even let him buy food at the cart. It was like $5.55, and they're like, you need to leave.
Well, and the other problem is, so the mix-in for Oogie Boogie Bash starts at 3 p.m. So 3 p.m. is not bad. 4 p.m. is terrible. 5 p.m. is worse. Like,
4 p.m. is terrible.
If you're wanting to try to if you're like, well, we'll just plan to get some dinner at 4 o'clock and then leave. You're getting dinner at 4 o'clock. You mobile order it for 4:45,
and you get it by
and you get it by 5:30. Yeah. I mean, like it gets because everybody's coming in, everybody's trying to eat, everybody's trying to do a couple rides before the party starts, and it just like. In those between 4 and 6 p.m., those hours just disappear. Yeah. They don't exist. So basically, the park closes at 4 for you, or 3:30. It's just keep it in mind.
Yeah, and we will go into more detail on that in our next episode.
Yeah,
so stay tuned for that. So with all of that said, as you can see, we're very enthusiastic about the upcoming Halloween season. We are so excited. We can't wait to be there and cover it in person. We will be there from Friday to Monday, because we're going to go to the first Oogie Boogie Bash. So stay tuned. Follow us into our next episode as we talk more about Oogie Boogie Bash and give you all the tips and tricks you'll need. And of course, follow along as we go because we will be at the very first one. So we can give you all the more pertinent tips for this season in particular once we're there in a month. It's literally like a month away.
Well, and if you're starting to have a little bit of FOMO, why didn't I plan a Halloween trip, but I'm also on a budget, you know what to do.
Yep, now's the time because between now and September 26th, you can still use the 3-day, what do they call that, summer ticket deal. It makes kids pretty much $50-ish a day, adults puts them around $80 a day. And depending on which ticket type you choose, you can really get a great value on those.
A lot of the hotels through Getaway Today have your 3rd or 4th night free. We can help find you a hotel that's got free breakfast and then you hop over. You can plan your family. I was budgeting out one for a family of 4 for less than $2,000 for a 3-day trip, 4 nights at a decent hotel, and you can have
experience Halloween.
3 days of Halloween fun between August 23rd and September 26th.
Yeah,
so if you're oh, we should have done that.
You still can.
You should have.
You still can.
It is a really good time to go. There are some closures and things like that you're going to have to kind of
miss out on
and be aware of. You guys know all about the Splash Mountain whole shutdown of that whole area. So that's why they're pushing these tickets and making sure that people can go. But it's such a great time to go. It's so fun. It's still going to be just wonderful and magical and a great way to just do a kind of a quick trip on a budget.
Yep. And those first few weeks between, I feel the start of the Halloween season and mid-September, as people are getting back into the groove of going back to school and stuff like that, you're going to have really low crowds.
Yeah.
So it's a great time to go. And the weather doesn't get too bad. It'll be hot, but I feel it gets hotter as you head more into October, actually. That August-September window is
end of September to October 25th.
To midnight.
It starts to get a little hairy.
Yeah. So anyway, book the trip. We will have all the links to all of the places you can book in our profile or in our show notes at the bottom of here. Make sure you book through our partners at Getaway Today. That helps us and it helps you. They offer the best prices. They will price match if you find a better deal. They will help you figure out how to get your dining reservations and all of the things. So they are great, and we don't want you to miss out on going through them because it helps you and it benefits us. And you can also go to our website, which we will also put in our show notes, to get tons more in-depth information than we have just gone over in basically every topic you can think of at Disneyland.
If you liked this episode and liked listening to us, we would appreciate just a quick little like or subscribe or share or anything like that helps support us and helps us to be able to continue creating this content for you. We really enjoy it. We hope you enjoy it. And thanks for being here.
See you on the next episode.